COVID-19 infections in the hub city are on the rise, with record high numbers over the weekend. Coming up, we'll have the latest look at the statistic both on and off campus.
Men and women who serve our country were honored last week as the United States observed Veterans Day. And here in Lubbock, there's one local attraction that works to remember some of America's finest every day. MCTV's Michael Lowry has a special look at the Silent Wings Museum.
And the Texas Tech football team put up a fight as they took on the Baylor Bears this weekend. But could the Red Raiders score another win in their second-to-last appearance at the Jones? MCTV's Austin Seat has a look at highlights from that game and more in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Nathan Lee.
And I'm Anakin Rayos.
Lubbock County is once again making headlines today after health officials reported a record number of new COVID-19 infections yesterday. On Sunday, the city's COVID-19 dashboard included 750 new cases of the coronavirus. That number eclipses the city's last record of 658 on October 28th by nearly 100 cases. Luckily, even with the huge jump in positive tests, there was only one new death reported yesterday, along with 412 recoveries. Currently, Lubbock County has 4,873 active cases of COVID-19. Local Lubbock hospitals have been feeling the strain of the increasing number of infections here on the South Plains. As of yesterday, the hospitalization rate for the hub city is at 27.1%, which also sets a new record and extends the number of days past 15% to 28. There are currently 320 people infected with COVID-19 in local Lubbock hospitals, with 90 of those in ICU. With the increase in patients, Lubbock hospitals reported that only 13 open hospital beds and 15 patient holding beds remained in the city at 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon.
Lubbock County officials were not the only ones reporting an increase of the coronavirus cases last week. Texas Tech has also seen a recent rise of cases here on campus. From last Saturday, November 7th through Friday, November 13th, Texas Tech officials reported 214 new positive tests among faculty, staff, and students. That number is just over 40 more cases than previous week's total of 90 new infections. It's also the first time since mid-September that Texas Tech has reported more than 200 new cases of the coronavirus on campus. The most recent report of new cases was announced on Friday with 22 new cases between 14 students and 8 employees. That report also included 28 new recoveries. In total, the Texas Tech campus has reported 2,587 positive tests for the coronavirus since August.
With the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in Lubbock and here on campus, Texas Tech administrators are encouraging students to take advantage of free testing before heading home for the Thanksgiving holiday. The university is continuing to offer a free walk-in clinic in the TTU Museum's sculpture court. The testing site will remain open between now and next Wednesday before Thanksgiving from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Unlike previous weeks, the clinic will also be open on Sunday to help accommodate student schedules as they prepare to head home for the break. After next Wednesday, the testing site will close for the Thanksgiving holiday and will remain closed until Monday, November 30th. After that, testing will continue until the last day of finals on Wednesday, December 9th. For more info on the museum testing site, as well as the latest news regarding COVID-19 on campus, visit emergency.ttu.edu/coronavirus.
Last week, people across the United States took time to remember those who have served our country during the Veterans Holiday. Although there were few in-person events here in Lubbock, one local museum honored a specific group of veterans who took one of the most dangerous jobs during World War II. MCTV's Michael Lowry has more.
Today, Wednesday, November 11, 2020, the Silent Wings Museum here in Lubbock, Texas is holding their annual Veterans Day event. This Veterans Day event is meant to celebrate all who paid the ultimate sacrifice and served the country.
For Sharon McCullough and the rest of the Silent Wings Museum staff, Veterans Day is a day of remembrance for all the glider pilots who served in the past. The museum also celebrates every other veteran on Veterans Day and welcomes all to come and visit the museum.
At the Silent Wings Museum, we honor all veterans, but we today especially think of those glider pilots and glider personnel and glider infantry that we talk about all the time and always honor that service. But today is a day that we can invite people into the museum to just kind of highlight that particular aspect of service and then thank any veterans that are able to come to us to come to the event.
Due to COVID-19, Anna Hogan, the museum's marketing and special events coordinator, had to readjust how this year's event was held. The museum made the event primarily online this year. With personal hashtags, social media, and the museum's own website, this year's Veterans Day event was no drag at all.
What we have done for this event is make it virtual. By utilizing our social media, by utilizing our website, we've created programming that mirrors what someone would experience in person online. And of course, this is still learning phases, I think, for a lot of us, as we decide what people are looking for online, what they respond to online, and how we can protect the integrity of what you see in a museum online.
McCullers said that the meaning behind moving to a primarily online platform was to ensure that everybody can safely visit the museum during the pandemic. The online platform allows for people who are stuck at home to still get that great experience of going to a museum.
We're working on trying to figure out how to continue with a virtual presence. We think that's really important, that we continue to reach out to an audience that even in the best of times are removed from us. We have people that are interested in the World War II glider program that live in Europe, Asia, and all across the United States. So we're definitely going to learn from what we're doing here in response to the COVID emergency to reach out to those folks who maybe just can't come to the museum.
At the end of the day, Hogan said this is still a learning moment for the museum. Overall, it is good practice for how they are going to operate in the future.
That's the challenge, is figuring out what works, how we can try new things, and how we can introduce these concepts to audiences that may not be tech savvy.
For more information regarding the Silent Wings Museum, check out www.silencewingsmuseum.com. For MCTV, I'm Michael Lowry.
The West Texas wind hit the South Plains with a vengeance over the weekend, with 30-mile-per-hour sustained winds and gusts reaching more than 40 miles per hour. By yesterday, wind speeds were much slower. But can we expect another dust storm during the last full week of in-person classes? MCTV's Madison Hartin joins us in studio with the latest look at the forecast. Madison?
Thanks, guys. Well, funny you brought up that dust storm. It definitely was very dusty and very windy here on the South Plains over the last couple days due to that high southwest wind that was coming through the area. And it's funny that you mentioned it because we actually have another chance of high winds again. I doubt that we're going to be seeing any more dust storms as we move into later this week with the high winds, but anything is possible here on the South Plains, especially during fall. For today, our high temperature climbed up to 72 degrees with sunny and warm conditions and a northwesterly wind coming at 5 to 10 miles per hour, so a lot more manageable than 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That was a little bit crazy. And then for this evening, we're going to be dropping back down into the upper 30s with a low temperature of 38 degrees, clear and cool conditions, and an easterly wind coming at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, let's look at the South Plains as a whole. We have fairly consistent temperatures as we move into the next couple of days. We can see that for most of the South Plains. We're going to be experiencing lows in the evening around the upper 40s to the lower 40s. So it is going to be fairly chilly as we move into the evenings. But don't worry, once we move into the afternoons, if we'll see for Tuesday afternoon, the high temperatures will be back into the 70s and upper 60s, with it dropping back down into the 40s by Tuesday evening. So we're in a bit of an odd time here in the South Plains. It is very common for fall that it be sweater weather in the morning, but if you wear a sweater by mid-afternoon, you'll probably die of heat stroke out there. It's just the way things are in the South Plains. We have pretty variable temperatures from the morning to the evening. Now, bringing it back into Lubbock locally, we can see that for Tuesday, we have a high of 72 degrees, sunny conditions, very similar to conditions today, with a low of 45 and a southerly wind coming at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Now Wednesday, that's when the wind is going to be picking up again. We have a high of 75 for that day, a low of 48, and a southwesterly wind coming at 15 to 25 miles per hour with 35 mile per hour wind gusts possible. So definitely be careful if you're going to be going outside that day. Be careful to hang out onto your hats and everything because it is going to be fairly windy and we might see a little bit more dust pickup. And then for Thursday, the wind will be moving out of our area, but the temperatures will be a little bit higher that day. We're back into the 80s with a high of 80 degrees exactly, a low of 49, and a southwesterly wind coming at 10 to 20 miles per hour. But through all the rain and the wind and everything, we are going to be experiencing some sunny skies for over the next couple days, which at least we'll be having some good weather for our last full week of classes. For MCTV Weather, I'm Madison Hartin. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Madison. The Texas Tech football team headed into Jones Stadium this weekend, hoping to find a way to improve their conference standing. But could they finally put another W in the win column against one of the worst teams in the Big 12? MCTV's Austin Seat joins us now with a look back at Saturday's game. Austin?
Thanks, Nathan. This week was a great week for Tech athletics, especially when we are transitioning into the spring sports. To start off, we have the Red Raider football squad who faced the 1-4 Baylor Bears this past Saturday at the Jones AT&T Stadium. It was a windy night in the Jones, and it caused a lot of problems for both the Red Raiders and the Baylor Bears. The game started off slow for the Red Raiders as the Bears got off to a 7-3 lead after the first quarter. The second quarter didn't fare much better as Baylor got ahead by 7 going into halftime with a 13-6 lead. Part of the issue was that Red Raiders coach Matt Wells said the plan was to use both Henry Colombi and Alan Bowman, whose only pass in the first half was intercepted and returned for a touchdown. Colombi never came back into the game after banging his elbow for the second time early in the third quarter, though Wells said he could have played more. With Alan Bowman back in the backfield, the Red Raiders began the long climb back into the game, outscoring the Bears 18-10 in the second half. On the final drive, Alan Bowman and Sir Roderick Thompson helped set up a 25-yard game-winning field goal for kicker Jonathan Grimbe, who took over the kicking duties this week. Alan Bowman completed 14 of 23 for 181 yards, while Colombi was 9 for 15 with 76 yards. Freshman Taj Brooks had a big day with 52 yards on 14 attempts and 2 touchdowns, while his running mate Sir Roderick Thompson had a total of 99 yards on 14 attempts. The Red Raiders now move to 3-5 on the year and will play Oklahoma State and Stillwater this weekend. In basketball news, the Red Raiders are gearing up for the 2020-2021 season and are hoping for some big wins this year. With notable starters returning like Kyler Edwards and Terrence Shannon, along with transfer Mac McClung, many fans are ready for the season to begin. The Red Raiders will begin their season against Northwestern State here in Lubbock on the 25th to kickstart their season. Some notable big games on their schedule, besides the usual Big 12 opponents, are LSU and the 17th-ranked Houston Cougars. This year's squad also looks to improve from last year, especially since they didn't get a chance to play in the postseason due to the COVID shutdown. As of the latest poll updates, the men's team is currently ranked 14th in the preseason polls. Moving over to the pitch, the Lady Raiders soccer team suffered another loss this past Friday against the Kansas State Wildcats. The Lady Raiders were hoping to have another win in the books after beating the Longhorns, but unfortunately that was not meant to be. The Lady Raiders looked like they could take control of the match, having most of the possession time, but that wasn't meant to be as K-State scored early in the 35th minute, giving them a 1-0 lead going into halftime. Tech didn't help themselves either because in the 56th minute, defender Hannah Anderson received her second yellow card, giving her a red. That caused the Lady Raiders to play with 10 players and gave K-State an advantage. This clearly helped them as K-State would score another goal in the 62nd minute to put the Wildcats up 2-0. This would ultimately be the final goal of the match, handing Tech their 5th loss of the season and giving them a record of 2-5-2 to finish out the season. The Lady Raiders finished the game with 28 shots, 9 of them on target, and had at least 3 saves by goalkeeper Madison White. Well, that's all for sports. Back to you, Anakin.
Thanks, Austin. Over the last couple of months, we've taken a look at several groups on campus that have braved the threat of COVID-19 to provide in-person entertainment and informational options for Tech students. But there is another group who is also continuing to meet in person who believes their presence on campus is essential during this pandemic. MCTV's Lillian Dix has the story.
The Student Government Association here at Texas Tech University represents the student body and helps university administrators make decisions here on campus.
The group meets twice a month on Thursdays in the Media and Communication Building in room 353. They are still meeting, but they have made some changes due to COVID-19.
This semester is much different from last semester whenever we were operating in the Student Senate. Typically, we will have every member of the Senate here in the room with us in MCOM room 353. However, I'm providing a Zoom option this go around, so it's sort of a hybrid option.
Even though COVID-19 has changed some aspects of how the SGA operates, they are still trying to continue their mission to serve the university. Kate Yarbrough, SGA Journal Clerk, is part of the leadership team and explains how the SGA works and what they do for the student body.
Here in SGA, what we do is there are 3 branches of government. There's legislative, judicial, and executive. And mostly what I deal with in my job is overseeing the Senate with our internal vice president, Clay Davis, and we work to implement legislation that is being passed by your senators that you voted on each year, just to help improve the student body.
One of the main goals of the SGA is to create legislation to improve life on campus. During each annual session, the group comes up with a list of initiatives that range from campus improvements to student safety. SGA President Hunter Heck says the group has several ideas to help implement resources for students on campus.
Here at Texas Tech University, a couple of the initiatives we have going on include 1, partnering with local bars in the Lubbock community to provide sexual assault bystander intervention training. 2, working to implement wellness days next semester and including other mental health initiatives to serve our students. And then finally, creating a food recovery network by partnering with restaurants and businesses both on campus and off campus to serve our students who don't have as much access to resources.
The SGA has one meeting remaining for the fall semester, and the group plans to meet again in the spring to continue their efforts to pass legislation before the end of the school year. If you would like more information about the Student Government Association, you can visit their website at sga.ttu.edu. For MCTV, I'm Lillian Dix.
So Anakin, can you believe the Thanksgiving break is just over a week away?
To be honest with you, Nathan, I can't. This semester kind of went by really fast, but I am excited to eat a lot of food next week. How about you?
I am too. I'm just counting down the number of exams I have left and the number of assignments I have left, and I'm just ready to be done with it all. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. Thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.